Well then, here we are for another race in F1 My Team, but not just any race. This is the return of the Portuguese Grand Prix at Portimao. We've got the, of course, calendar mod working absolutely fine, and we are racing at the Portuguese Grand Prix in today's episode. Now, if you haven't seen round one at Imola, which was a sprint race, go check it out, link in the top right before we jump into spoilers. Quick apology for that one because I actually had replay cams edited, but for some reason I made them non-visible on the video, so you guys didn't actually see them, but they were there and they were present, so small apology for me on that one. Either way, this weekend we have a chance of rain possibly in the race. As for developments, as you can see, pretty much everybody bringing upgrades here to this first, let's say, opportunity to bring upgrades in round number 2, and the gaps more or less staying the same between the pecking order. Elsewhere, we do have 3 more upgrades arriving, 2 for the chassis, 1 for the aero, and yeah, we're going to get the weekend underway as we jump into practice here in FP1, and the car was working pretty damn decently. This track, of course, is a lot of fun to drive, and yeah, after practice we finished in P13, Hulkenberg in the top 8, everybody in the softs, we done it on the mediums, so yeah, 110 AI, we're looking pretty solid right now if that's our pace because we haven't used a set of soft tyres yet. So after practice we went ahead and racked up all of our bonuses, and we're scoring so many R&D points thanks to, of course, mainly Hulkenberg, a teammate that has decent stats and allows us to rack in a big chunk of points, which is something we haven't had before with the F2 drivers. And yeah, here we are then, jumping into Q1, starting qualifying, overcast conditions for now, but hopefully they should clear up as the session progresses. And there we are, new race suit, new helmet, new car, new surroundings as we get the session underway. So here we are, making our way currently in sector 2 towards the very end of it, and I had a horrible moment here just running super wide and I completely missed the apex. I just locked the right front a little bit on the entry and I ran really wide. Besides that, it was actually a pretty decent banker lap to be fair, and the car working well on the soft tyres, and yeah, we're going to see what this first reference lap time is going to be and where it's going to place us amongst the order, because hopefully our pace is better this weekend because we was a bit off the pace in Imola in the last round. Up to the line though, 118.1 and P3 for now, so that is quite encouraging. Purple in the final sector. I then went for a second push lap actually. I had enough fuel for one more, but you can see here we have a 2/10 plus margin, but we make a moment out of the hairpin and lose the back end, and then on the very next corner we have another moment going for a spin, and that's going to put an end to our second attempt. So with that done, we're going to go back to the pit lane and we're going to see what the current situation is and whether we have to go back out again or not. I can tell you luckily we was more than safe, and with that first lap it was job well done for us. Had we improved, it would have been nice. We could have got P7, but still pace is decent. Both cars into Q2 easily on one set of tyres. Now then, Q2, let's see what we can do here as we start our lap. We're going to go for a full lap here and hopefully it's good enough to get into Q3. Down to turn 1, we're going to go another 6th gear, attack the apex, but we just run a bit wide and invalidate. So straight away I actually just turned everything down and we're going to go for a cool down lap. I then went for a second push straight after, and we're going to see what this second lap is. And as a reference, we had a 118.1 in Q1 as our time that we got through with, so let's see what we do relative to that, and that will let us know whether this lap is actually decent or not particularly great. Through the final corner, DRS now open and up to the line, and it's a 117.6, so half a second faster, and that is a big improvement. And after this run we went back to the pit lane. You can see right now we're P5, 3/10 off the top, Hulkenberg half a tenth behind us, and then we have about 4/10 in our pocket, over 4/10 to Verstappen in P10. So I'm going to take a chance here and not go back out. Luckily that chance works out, so again we save a set of tyres, both cars in the top 8 again as we're both into Q3. Verstappen setting the pace with a 17.2, and yeah, we improved by half a second in Q2 compared to Q1. So happy days all round, and we can now move into Q3 and the final part of qualifying, and we're going to have 2 fresh sets of soft tyres available to us for this session. So 8 minutes to go, and we're going to start our first time lap. Down to turn number 1 then, bring the car over to the left, brake, at about 60-65 meters down to 6th gear. Don't run too wide on the exit. And then down to 4th gear for turn number 3. Easy on the power up through 4. Use lots of inside curb and use all the runoff as you open DRS. Now downhill into 5. Brake, bang on the 100. And you want to try and go down to 4th gear, clip the apex, get the rotation done quickly, and then feather the throttle to pick up the traction and also maintain the minimum speed through the turn 5 hairpin and the exit. Then into 6 and 7, a couple of rights. Important here to take this one in 5th and be very smooth on the throttle. Use all the runoff curb, and even though we still have a bit of oversteer. Up the hill again as the roller coaster section continues into this double right, getting the apex at the second part. Absolutely perfect. A little bit wide on the exit, which I had to just be careful with the throttle to not wheel spin too much. And now into the final part of the lap, sector 3, a couple of hairpins are left and then a right. Important through here to try and maintain good minimum speed and low speed, and then on the power using all the runoff as you get the lap done, staying nice and tight through the final corner. And now wait for the DRS, and we're going to see what the lap is. And it's going to be a 1:17.574, so a tenth quicker than Q2 and a decent banker for P5 at the time. We now move on to my second attempt, and we're going to see on our last set of tyres if we can improve. Down to turn 1 then, 6th gear, and we just get the line wrong, and we have to yield and back off, and we also mess up turn 3 by turning in way too early. So yeah, a very, very horrible first sector, and just trying a bit too hard there to carry speed through turn 1. So we're down by 4.2 tenths in the first sector split. At this point, I know I've messed up, the pressure's off, so I started to just, drive without pressure, and we found lap time. We found the 10th already through turn 5, and we just found more time through 6 and 7 and 8, and it was just getting better and better and better. And to the point where around now I actually thought to myself, you know what, I could actually maybe still improve this if I nailed the rest of the lap. Pressure was back on, and through the double rights again, we just went a bit too wide for my liking. You can see we struggled with the oversteer on the exit, but still a great second sector. We find about 3.5 tenths as we pretty much recovered all the delta. Now though, into the final few corners here, trying to stay tight through the hairpin, getting on the power, and now we're just trying to catch the back end, but we lose it with a spin, and that is going to be the end of our qualifying. So P7 and nearly a second off pole, 9 tenths away Hulkenberg in P6. We match our Imola qualifying from round 1, which is P7 again. However, the Red Bull of Verstappen and the Ferrari of Leclerc are in a different postcode. Having said that, P3 was easy in this qualifying. We could have and should have got P3 in terms of our pace, because we dropped 4 tenths alone in the first sector, and we found 3.5 tenths in the second sector alone. So, if you kind of do the math, we're looking at about a 4.5 tenth difference, and that would get us ahead of Hamilton. So it should have been P3 instead of P7. Either way, this is qualifying, and we're now going to move into the race and see if we can turn it around, of course, also with that rain forecast, which could spice things up towards the end.
The Formula One circus has made its way to the southern coast of Portugal this week, and it's preparing for what I expect to be a terrific race here in Portimao. So Portimao features 15 turns over the course of its 2.9 mile length. 9 are right-handers, while 6 are to the left. This is a track with a lot of uphill action, which only accentuates the importance of getting those exits right, especially at turn 4, where a good line can present opportunities to pass on the way into turn 5. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Sainz, George Russell and Hulkenberg, Martinez, Fernando Alonso, Ocon and Lando Norris, Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou and Magnussen, Tsunoda, Bottas, Alex Albon and Sebastian Vettel. Gasly, Perez, they've taken a grid penalty. Stroll and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
For the first time in my team, it's officially race day in Portimao for the Portuguese Grand Prix, which I'm very excited to say. However, I don't think the racing will be mental like in Imola. I think it could be pretty meh, but the fact we're racing here is awesome. So I'm very excited about that. So P7 for us, just like in Imola, exact same qualifying. So we're going to try it and do a better job. I do feel like we've got a touch more pace here this weekend. I just didn't fully deliver in qualifying, as you saw in Q3. So I would like to say possibly a podium could be possible. The Red Bulls seem to have the upper hand here this weekend, but let's see what happens. Top 5 minimum, I think, is what I want, but I do think maybe a podium if strategy goes well. Our race pace is usually stronger as well, which is also a massive plus. For the race though, we have gone for a medium to hard tyre strategy. We've got rain at the end. I was going to start in the hards, but I just don't trust the weather forecast, so we're going to go for a simple strategy. We do have a fresh set of softs if we need them, so we could always go for that tyre if the rain was to arrive earlier. Either way, fuel-wise, 1.5 laps of fuel. I think that's probably a bit too much, but still play it safe and hopefully no dramas. And yeah, let's get into it and let's get to work. Now, I would like some predictions in the comments down below, along with also a like if you're excited for the return of Portimao to the career mode scene here on F1 22. But let's get into it. So we're going to line her up. We're going to also try and get a last bit of tyre warm-up, which has been a struggle this weekend to try and get the tyres even above ATC. Has been pretty damn difficult. But anyway, we're going to do a bit of a scrubbing here as we get the last bit of tyre temp in these medium tyres. But let's see, man. It should be a fun race. Hopefully a decent start, and then we can crack on from that point on. Decent lineup.
Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights.
Copy that, Elvis. Right. Let's see what happens. It's going to be good fun, though. That's how away we go. Not a terrible start. Hulkenberg off to a decent start though. He gets alongside of Russell as we head into turns 2 and 3. Just trying to pick a line here. Going to try and cut back as we head through up over the hill. Hulkenberg being forced out by Russell. We're going to get the run on our teammate. Going to try and go super deep on the brakes into the hairpin. And that's a double overtake. Absolutely world class. Up to P5, getting past Hulkenberg and Russell there. That's exactly what we were looking for, and we've achieved it. Let's see, Hamilton out of shape over the top of the hill. Russell putting the pressure on here. We'll find out as well what kind of straight line speed we have once we get onto the pit straight, as I literally have no idea. So far, I'm fine with this. This has been a decent start. There is only one Red Bull ahead, not two, so our podium is on the cards. Russell there briefly going for the move up the inside, so I just had to miss the apex a little bit. We get a tap in the rear as George looks for the move. Thank you very much, George. Still side by side here. We're going to have to race him wheel to wheel. Russell with a shorter run, but we're going to use the straight line speed and the horsepower. And there we go, we pull ahead easily. So Russell trying to ruffle my feathers, but we managed to stay firm and not buckle to the pressure. So that's good to see. Our straight line speed, at least versus the Mercedes, is looking pretty insane. Let's try and chase after Hamilton then, and let's see if we have any kind of pace. Oh, Hamilton out of shape, but so are we. Not ideal. Definitely have decent pace. Fastest lap last lap from Charles Leclerc, 120.5. We was about half a tenth off that, so we have race winning pace already. We'll see later on, but we're kind of in the ballpark of Leclerc and Verstappen, and I definitely feel faster than Sainz and Hamilton, so looking to get by here at the moment, just struggling to find an opening, but DRS is now active, so that may provide the opportunity we need, and I'm willing to use my battery to get past, as I know I have the straight line speed. Here we go. Closing in on Hamilton. Hamilton responds though. We're going to go to the inside, leaves the door wide open. Side by side. And we go through. Lewis backs out. So that's a move for us. Up into P4. Let's go after Carlos next. Leclerc on soft tyres, by the way. That's very interesting. I wonder if Max is also on softs. That might explain why they're fast. If that's the case, we're looking pretty decent already early on in this race. Leclerc fastest lap 120.0. That's quite the improvement, to be fair. They're still pushing the front two. We've now got DRS on signs, although we know from the last race that the straight line speed advantage isn't huge compared to a Ferrari. The Ferrari engine generally is the strongest one of the bunch. Meanwhile, the Mercs behind are battling, just hoping Hulkenberg can somehow find a way through both of them. That would really help us out as a team. But yeah, Sainz holding on for now, as I wasn't really close enough there. I think the Ferrari is better in the corners, and we're still a bit better on the straights. At this time we're a bit closer. I'm going to use a big chunk of battery if I can early on. Nice and tight through the final corner. And now up the hill using the horsepower. Sainz without DRS. He's still pretty speedy, but we've got the run and we're going to go to the inside on the brakes and we're going to get it done. And that's P3, baby. Verstappen is on mediums, by the way. Look at that. Very impressive pace from Max. But now we've got a race to go win. Let's try and chase down the front two. Let's see what kind of pace we have in clean air without DRS. First track limit warning. Just understeering a little bit wide through there. I have been struggling with understeer all weekend, but I've been able to manage it okay so far. We're starting to catch the cars ahead, by the way. Last lap 20.6, I matched my personal best. We've also dropped Sainz out of DRS range. And now personal best, middle sector. Personal best into the 0.5s. Leclerc now struggling to keep up with Verstappen as Verstappen starts to stretch his legs. Tyler Eckert in the soft tyres, struggling now to hold on. 2 in a row. This is good pace. Let's keep it up. 3 laps in a row, personal best, and Leclerc pits this lap without using any ERS, which is a good sign as we dip into a very high 3. Verstappen though, bulletproof on pace. We're pretty much identical lap after lap, so it's going to take a bit more pace in this for us to get anywhere near Max, to be fair. Really pushing here. This has been a great lap. Going to use a bit of battery as well. I have used a little bit during the lap because it's such a strong lap. First time the gap is under 4 seconds. And this is a big improvement actually.
We're approaching the pit window now and you're going to be on hard next time.
A 20.0. That is insane at this stage of the race. Didn't think we had that kind of pace, but the tyres are hanging in there. And when I asked for a bit more pace, the tyres are still responding okay. Let's try and close the gap. As we most likely will lose a bit in the pit phase. Warning number 2. Just pushing a little bit too much here. Might have to just rein it in a little bit. Lap traffic in the form of Sebastian Vettel here. On a cold, hard tyre. Oh my god. That's just ruined my race. Have I got damage?
Grip is probably dropping due to wear, so be too aggressive.
Okay, luckily our front wing is not damaged, but oh, that was valuable time lost. We did make contact, but we're still alive. We've got to pass Stroll as well. We're going to get DRS from Lance Stroll, or at least I think we should have. Yes, we have. Verstappen stays out, which is interesting. So let's see what he does. We'll do opposite of Max this lap. A little bit wide there. Just missed the apex, pushing a bit too much. Tyre wear indicator just turning on down the bottom right as Ross purple in sector 1 thanks to the DRS from Stroll. Going to match a personal best. Does Verstappen pit? Yes, he does. So we'll go for the overcut. Let's try and go for a 1 lap overcut here and see what we can do. We'll use up all the battery. New fastest lap on that one as well. Right, we're going to pit. Let's see if the overcut. I don't know if it's going to work, but it might get us a bit closer.
Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap.
Pit entry is going to be so key. I was right on the limit, but somehow we didn't speed. Whew. Right, let's see then. Hulkenberg, by the way, scrapping with Hamilton. I think he's actually got ahead of Hamilton, so that's good to see. I can see on the map he's actually pulling away from him, so that's very, very exciting. Good to see Hulkenberg performing well. 2.3 is an excellent stop. Here comes Verstappen. It's going to be close, actually.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
So Max back out ahead. I did actually match my personal best on my in lap, so it wasn't terrible. So gap about 2 seconds. By the time we get the tyres up to 10th, the gap will be about what it was before, around the 3-second mark. So then, with P2, the chase begins. The race pace is legit. Hulkenberg is also confirming that race pace with his own performance, as he's also managed to jump Russell in the pit stop phase. So let's see. The chase begins. Currently on for a personal best and new fastest lap. This should dip into the 1:19s. And there we go. 3.7 seconds. We only gained 3/10 on that lap on Verstappen, so the margin of benefit is very small. But we'll keep chipping away at the risk of a 3-second time penalty for a third warning. Gap now under 3 seconds as we keep chipping away. I've done 3 consecutive 19.9s in a row, so we're doing well, although I'm about to run out of battery, which isn't ideal. Also, Charles Leclerc with a new fastest lap, impressive pace from the Ferrari. We're going to respond to Leclerc straight away and take back the fastest lap with a 1:19.7. 10th and a bit faster. Gap to Max now 2.3 as we enter the final 10 laps of this race. This is going to be a chase to the end, guys. Don't go anywhere. This has been a perfect lap. We've absolutely nailed it. The car is coming alive again, just like in the first stint, as the fuel starts to burn off and the tyre wear kicks in. These seem to have better pace than the AI and worn tyres. Purple sector 3, and now the gap is under 2 seconds as we close in on Max.
Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Completely forgot about that. All the rain make its presence felt. Will it disrupt the race at the end? Just when we're starting to catch Verstappen. Could be in for a tense end here, folks. Oh, Verstappen with a massive snap through turn 1. It's going to bring us into range, possibly for DRS. Did we get DRS? No, not quite. Verstappen just holds on for now, but that was a big error from Max, clearly struggling on tyres. This lap we will be within range. Max just holding on and responding. He's picking up the pace a little bit. Still don't quite have DRS. I'm also about to run out of battery, which is not annoying. Max just holding on. We're going to have a lapped car right in our way for the second time this race. It's Alex Albon. Luckily, we clear him just about, but that's going to cost us a bit of time. Just not quite able to get within a second of Verstappen now. He's picking up the pace a little bit, and also lap traffic coming into play. So yeah, he's going to have DRS from the Aston Martin, I think, in front of him now, which isn't ideal. Meanwhile, I've got no battery left, and Albon, I think, is on soft tyres, so he's going to be pretty quick. That was a poor lap from me, 20.2, which isn't that great. We're now going to have to clear the lap traffic, which is Sebastian Vettel again for the second time this race. Hopefully we get some DRS in the process. That would be phenomenal. And there we go. Cheers, Seb. Thank you. Well, let's keep chipping away then. Bit of an interruption, but let's try and get back on the pace if we can. Personal best middle sector from us on this lap. I'm trying so hard right now, but the tyres maybe just starting to let go a little bit. I'm also out of battery, and I just can't quite get within a second. Max is doing enough to hang on. Pace is still strong. I mean, I'm only just over a 10th off my PB, but Max is responding, and we're getting close to that time of the race where the AI crank up their engine for the final couple of laps. Oh, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. Not now. Not this late. Oh, that is so cruel. This game can be so tough. I don't believe it. No. I just hope Hulkenberg gets the podium.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Napoli Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
There we have it. Nico Hülkenberg has his first ever Formula 1 podium, and at the expense of me. So it is what it is. In many ways, last race I got a podium thanks to Hülkenberg retiring, so I've returned the favour straight away. Anyway, a shame for us because P2 was definitely guaranteed. I don't think we would have won. I started to struggle right at the end. I think pushing so hard, you know, the entire stint on the hards, I think I just started to struggle on tyres towards the end, and Max also started to find his rhythm a bit. So, yeah, fun race though. Really enjoyed it. I felt like Lewis really. I mean, at points in that race, you know, in the Mercedes, just kind of consistently putting in lap after lap after lap and chasing and getting past cars. But yeah, P7 to P2 for us, and then of course DNF, which is a real shame. Verstappen though picks up another win, Leclerc second, so the front two pick up even more points, which is bad news for us. Hulkenberg on the podium, a good response after a DNF last time out. Russell, Perez splitting to Mercedes, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, Ricciardo, Schumacher are your top 10, and then missing out on the points, Zhou, Bottas, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, Latifi, Albon, Norris with the fastest lap, Stroll, Vettel, Magnussen, and then we finish at the bottom. Standings, Hulkenberg up to third in the standings, so of course he got that second place in the sprint in Imola in the first round. We're currently P7, but still we're not, you know, a million miles away. Obviously 18 more points would have been fantastic today. That would have put us, you know, comfortably P3, but still, it is what it is. Leclerc leads, Verstappen second. In the Constructors, we're third, and we're 1 point ahead of Mercedes, so we're holding on. Even though we've had 2 DNFs already, 1 each, we're doing well. But already the signs are pointing towards durability as Red Bull overtakes Ferrari at the top of the table. Now back in the office, we're getting ready for the next race, and we have the worn components warning, which of course is the failure. So we've got 2 upgrades arriving on the front nose and also the engine cover before round 3. We're going to go ahead and see if we get any extra R&D points, which we don't. Real shame. Activities wise, we're going to go ahead and we'll go for an auto fuel on this one. Don't really mind. No, nothing really there to benefit Hulkenberg's outright pace. Elsewhere, R&D. So we have 2,300 points. It's going to be worth investing in durability, but first of all, let's confirm it was the MGUH, which is a good thing. The one thing you don't want is an energy store or control electronics failure. So we'll go ahead and bring in an MGUH upgrade to make sure we stay on top of things. So let's go ahead and invest in Spec 2 MGUH, and that will arrive soon. We can also go ahead and add another upgrade to the pile, and we'll go for, I think it's going to be an aero upgrade, to be fair. We'll go for the wing mirrors, why not? Drag reduction, let's get it on. It might be a new team, you know, with all the upgrades, all the facilities, but these things can still happen. So we're going to have to repurchase the front nose cone as we had a failure. It's going to be more than affordable, so we'll go ahead and get it, and it will only take 5 days to arrive, so it should still be on the car before the next round. We've had another failure, this time the engine cover on the chassis, which isn't great. We do have more than enough points to cover it and purchase it again, so that's what we're going to do. But anyway, that's that. The next round is Spain, round number 3 of the season, and hopefully an opportunity to try and at least get a podium. We need to try and get a couple of podiums now to really respond. We don't want to lose too much ground to Verstappen or Leclerc in the early part of the season. We do have $11 million, which I'm tempted to possibly spend some of. I'll hold off a little bit for now, as we're in a kind of 10 million region. 8 million per facility upgrade, which is a little bit too much. So we'll give it a couple more races before we're safe to make a decision on where to invest our money next. So with that said, guys, I'm going to call it there and say that's it for today's episode. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. To be fair, that was actually an excellent race. I really enjoyed it. More action than I thought, and also the chase was great. I knew I had race pace, but it was actually surprising that we actually fought for the win. So yeah, subscribe for more daily F1 content, guys, and more regular My Team content. As always, a big shout out to the members for supporting the channel. Finally, check out the 2 videos on screen now if you haven't seen them, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care, and that's goodbye from me.